Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our PMU Season 9 Week 4 battle against Odds Are in his Atlanta Rainbow. Brody is a very, very good friend of mine. Please go check him out in the description below. If you ever need some commission work done, anything like that, please go hit him up. He's insanely talented. But yeah, with that being said, I'm kind of crunched on time, so I'm going to jump right into the Teambuilder now. If you want to jump ahead straight to the battle, I will leave a timestamp in the description below and on screen on when that starts, so you can go ahead and jump to it. It's a pretty long one, so I definitely, wouldn't blame you if you did. But those of you who want to see what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it, this is for you. So our team, if you did forget, consists of Weavile, Komodo, Empoleon, Florges, Piloswine, Rotom Fan, Nihilego, Shaymin, Slowbro, Pyroar, and Mega Alakazam, with our Z user being Komodo, while Brody's team consists of Landorus, Therian, Milotic, Chestnut, Cobalion, Aromatisse, Lantern, Volcarona, Mandibuzz, Goodra, Musharna, and Megadiancy, with his Z user being the Landorus Therian. Now, this is a very tough matchup for me. Lots of scary things. We'll go over them really quickly. I think like a Scarf Lando in the endgame is very scary for my team to deal with. I think my defensive checks to it get worn down over time, and very difficult for me to deal with over time. It's a great revenge killer in this game, so that's definitely very scary. Milotic is an absolute bitch to break for our team. Realistically, it's only Shaymin that can punch through it, so we're kind of forced to bring in Shaymin, as good as it is this week. Cobalion, I think it does come just because it's a great Weavile check. It's a good rocker, potential like that. Volcarona can get really out of hand in the endgame if we do lose our Scarf that you see on screen and we let our other check get a little bit whittled down. It can for sure just kind of cleave through us and beat us very easily. Mandibuzz, I think Mandibuzz also comes as well because it's a great Zam check, but we do have ways of wearing that down. And then Megadiancy in the endgame absolutely rips us, so we gotta be very careful about that. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our first mon, which is Nihilego, rocking out with the Choice Scarf Beast Boost as its ability. Power Gem, Sludge Wave, Toxic Spikes, and Hidden Power Ice. EVs wise, we got 68 HP, 4 defense, 164 special attack, 36 def, and 236 speed with a timid nature. EVs wise, we have enough speed for Volcarona. We live a +2 psychic from full from the Volcarona as well, in case it does get out of hand. And then we have our rest and our special attack while still getting that special attack boost, which is obviously very solid. This Pokemon goes crazy in the in-game. He doesn't have great rock resist. It really is only Cobalion. Cobalion 1 is, really pressured by Weavile to come and take those hits. 2 doesn't have the greatest def. And it realistically can claim in the end game if we get a lot of chip on some sufficient things. It should be faster than all of his Scarfers minus Scarf Cobalion, which I don't think will come. And if it does, I can really see us being able to knock that thing off with Weavile and switching. And that's it. I think we should outspeed every one of his Scarfers otherwise, which is obviously great. So that gives us phenomenal speed control in this game. T-Spikes are there just in case we do find an opportunity to put them up, because Brody does not have a guard of poison, but that's realistically not what Nihilego is here for. It's here to click Power Gem a million times and put on a lot of offensive pressure and potentially clean in the end game. Next up, we got Mega Zam rocking out the Alakazam, Trace's its ability, Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, Recover, and Shadow Ball. EVs wise, we got 36 HP, 212 defense, 140 special attack, 12 speed def, and 68 speed with a modest nature. Now, EVs wise, we have enough speed for Megadiancy. We take a +1 flamethrower from Volcarona, in case he for some reason doesn't have Bug Buzz, though he should, but just in case for some reason he doesn't have it, we do take that hit. We live a Scarf, Landorus, Earthquake after Stealth Rock, and then we do the rest into our special attack. And yeah, Zam is really strong against Brody's team. If we can just get a little bit of chip on that Mandibuzz, we realistically can just 2-hit KO everything on this team, minus maybe an AV Goodra, but we actually can recover up on AV Goodra pretty easily if it's dropping Dracos and throwing off special hits and things like that. So we should be fine in all honesty against that thing. It gives us, another mon that's ridiculously fast, faster than his whole team, while still being able to afford a ton of bulk. And yeah, Mega Zam just kind of clicks buttons this game. If we can get a Toxic off on the Mandy, even better. If he's knockoff, I believe he actually doesn't 2-hit KOs most of the time, so that's obviously very solid as well. So really looking forward to Zam in this matchup. Next up, we got Weavile rocking out with a Life Orb, pressure as its ability, knockoff, Ice Shard, Ice Crash, and low kick. EVs wise, got 108 HP, max attack, 4 defense, 4 speed def, and 140 speed with a jolly nature. EVs wise, we're creeping max speed Niantic, got max attack and the rest in HP. And I think we're also hitting that Life Orb number. I could have forgotten this week, but who knows? Not really too big of a deal. This Pokemon also very offensively potent outside of Milotic, which we pressure a lot with this thing. To always come in, and we always have Shaymin to go into later, which you'll see. And the Cobalion, which we have great defensive responses to. He does not appreciate dual stabs of Weavile. We do have low kick for the Cobalion as well. I wanted to fit Taunt for the Milotic, but I just couldn't fit it into my mind. I wanted the Ice Shard for the Landorus. And yeah, this Pokemon just puts on a lot of offensive pressure. I'm using it also to hopefully knock off that Cobalion in case it is some weird Scarf set or something like that, because I realistically think that's his best pivot into it. And yeah, gives us a really, really solid breaker in this matchup and a great revenge killer to the Landorus, and you know, things like that, which is obviously great. Next up, we got Empoleon rocking out with what do you call it? Rocking out with the leftovers. I forgot to change the life orb there. I apologize. Rocking out with the leftovers. Defiant as its ability, actually, which we'll get into. Liquidation, Stealth Rock, Toxic, and Aqua Jet. EVs wise, we're rocking out with max HP, 36 attack, 4 defense, 124 speed F, and 92 speed with a... Why am I blanking on the nature? Is it calm? Careful nature? Whatever. Plus speed F minus special attack. Gosh, I always forget that. We always kill a Mega Diancie, you know, minimally bulk invested with Liquidation into Aqua Jet. We have enough speed for Lantern and then a little bit of creature, so we can get a nice Toxic off on that thing. And then we threw the rest into speed F just to take those special hits as well as we possibly could. This is a great rocker in this game in the sense that I don't think his defoggers can really deal with a +2 attack in Empoleon. Even if we are minimally invested, that plus Toxic really does help us out a ton. Against like things like Mandibuzz, we'll pretty much always beat it 1v1. Landorus, we do have the Sugar Berry, and if it intimidates us, we're at +1, and it definitely doesn't take Liquidation into Jet, much less even just maybe even a Liquidation dropping. And that's its only removal, and Rocks are very solid in this game. Rocks are obviously very, very important. This also gives us a good check to the Volcarona, provided we don't get burned. We can always Liquidation into Jet and kill that thing, which is obviously awesome. And we have Toxic for a lot of his fat. So this set's actually very, very interesting. Very, very excited to use this one. And, you know, should be a good time for sure. Next up, we got Shaymin rocking out with the leftovers. Natural Cures, its ability, Seed Flare, Air Slash, Toxic, and Synthesis. EV's always got 108 HP, 148 special attack, and then max speed with a timid nature that doesn't have the plus. You can tell I rushed through these because of school. Yikes. But this Pokemon's going to be our main Milo check. It's a good Landorus check as well. The only thing we're really fodder for is things like Volk, which you can always throw a Toxic off, and this Pokemon kind of just sits in front of everything, especially if we get a Toxic off from the Mandibuzz. This Pokemon doesn't really lose too much on Brody's team, especially from a healthy amount. So I think this Pokemon is going to be really, really important, especially in checking that Milotic, because it can kind of just do the same thing that Shaymin's trying to do, and Toxic and sit in front of everything. So we're going to have to be careful about that. We're going to have to be sparing with our Synthesis and not always, you know, click it every time we take a tiny bit of chip of damage. We need to, you know, be careful with that, obviously, but, you know, it gives us a great overall endgame mon. Air Slash gives me coverage for not only Bulk, but also Chestnut, if that ends up coming. Seed Flare into Air Slash has a small chance to KO no Bulk, I think, or something like that. Something close. If we do get the -2 drop with the Seed Flare, which is obviously really, really solid. And yeah, that's going to be Shaymin. Really, really important defensively. And speaking of important defense, we have Slowbro rocking out with the left, the Assault Vest. Gosh, I'm a clown. I really messed up on these slides, dude. Rocking out with the Assault Vest for generators, its ability, Scald, Side Shock, Future Sight, and Ice Beam. You've got 244 HP, 156 defense, 4 special attack, and 108 special defense with a bold nature. This Pokemon, phenomenal defensive pivot in this matchup. We check things like Diancie pretty well. It's actually probably our best Diancie check, considering Empoleon's going to have a ton of pressure on it. We check Landorus. We pretty much hardball Cobalion. Volt Switch are actually doing genuinely nothing as well, which is obviously very solid. And he's not like Z Cobalion, which means he can't be like Calm Mind Z Volt Switch, which is something that can kind of push past Slowbro. But even then, we kind of do take that on just because we are so unbelievably fat on this set. Future Sight plus Scald and Ice Beam are pretty darn free. Psychic Shock is just another stab move to potentially throw off, just have more reliable Psychic Stab. And yeah, just a very solid mon overall, in kind of blanket checking a lot of his team. This plus Shaymin should, in theory, be able to kind of sit in front of a lot of his stuff, minus the Volt, which means we kind of need to eliminate the Volt. But if we can, in theory, Slowbro plus Shaymin should kind of sit in front of everything. And that's kind of the plan, to do that, and then hopefully win in an endgame with Neolego, cleaning up with the Scarf after we chip everything down sufficiently. But yeah, that is going to be the team. I will be right back with the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. You can see the 6 that Brody elected to bring. He went with the Landorus Therian, Volcarona, Mandibuzz, Mega Diancie, Cobalion, and Milotic. Realistically, really what I was expecting in this matchup. Lando is very scary versus me endgame. Volk can get out of hand very fast if we, you know, don't play our team correctly. We let Empoleon get a little bit chipped, and we, you know, let Nihi go down. things are looking pretty tough versus that Volcarona, so we're gonna have to be careful. Mandibuzz, because Zam rips him, otherwise there's no way he can, you know, bring a functioning team without this Mandibuzz here. Mega Diancie, also very potent win con versus me. A potential Rock Polish set in the end game could be very scary. Cobalion, because he gets smashed by Weavile. I'm assuming this will be his rocker this week. And lastly, going to be Milotic, because again, it's very good versus my team and just soft checking everything that's not named Shaymin, in all honesty. So definitely pretty much what we were expecting here. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. I am going to lead Slowbro, because if you look at Brody's team, everything minus maybe Mandibuzz and, what do you call it, Milotic, I lead pretty well versus, in all honesty, and I can, you know, kind of scout and see what he wants to go for from there, as he is going to lead the Landers, and this kind of, at least to me, screams Scarfed. I don't think Landorus is your lead otherwise. I think if you're like an SD, you know, Z-Fly set or something like that in the back, you're going to keep it in the back. So this is kind of like tipping me off. This is going to be his speed control this week, as we are going to see a U-turn pop out. Now, again, I could be completely wrong. He could just be Rocks, stabs U-turn, or stabs, Rocks like Edgequake U-turn or something like that. So I could be completely wrong, but I figured it was something, you know, to keep in mind at the very least, as I am going to throw off a Future Sight. Reason being is because I feel as if it does kind of force in that Mandibuzz, and if I can force that thing in to take a lot of chip on different things, we're actually chilling. We're doing pretty well. So I am going to pit out this turn, though. I unfortunately kind of need to, just because of the sense I don't want to let my Slowbro get toxic. It honestly walls pretty much everything on this team, minus this Milotic toxicking it, and potentially the Mandibuzz toxicking it or something like that. We can't really break through Mandibuzz unless we get a Toxic off on it first, but also Shaymin's a very free play in the sense that Toxic comes out here, and I can just not cure that off later. So Brody is going to switch out. I am going to make the play and go for a Toxic this turn, because I know Mandibuzz really has to come in, because while it may be able to live one Seed Flare, there's no reason for him to stay in and take it, and that plus Future Sight will knock out Milotic, and Milotic is so good versus me defensively this game, there's no way he can let that happen. So him getting poisoned is genuinely amazing for our Zam. That means he's pretty much always 2-hit KO'd from this point, which is obviously very, very solid. Hold on, as I have my puppy. Listen, I'm gonna grab her. Everybody say hi to Snowy. But yeah, we're gonna get a big Toxic off on, you know, big old Mandy, which is again amazing for our thing in the back. As I am gonna make the play into my Empoleon, I really want to get up my Rocks in this game. But Brody is going to actually make a pretty solid double and go into the Cobalion. Now, I don't know if he was expecting Empo. I don't think Empo was like, you know, the most obvious switch in the world. So maybe he was expecting something else, but nonetheless, it really did end up working, because I'm not going to be able to get up my Rocks now. I'm going to have to pivot out, as Brody here is going to go for a Volt Switch, keeping up good offensive momentum versus me. So good on him. He's for sure going to see that we're Assault Vest based on that that Volt Switch damage doing probably 15%. It also tipped me off that he is a physically offensive Cobalion just with Volt Switch as a pivoting move. But yeah, out here comes the Volcarona. Now, immediately, I'm going to make a pivot into my Empoleon. I don't expect him to want to set up here. I actually expect him to potentially just go for a Bug Buzz or something like that, try and get some damage off. But he is just going to go for it right away. And this sucks, because if he didn't, I would have felt a lot safer, you know, just getting up my Rocks or something like that. But now that he, you know, clicked the Quiver Dance, I do feel pretty obligated to click Liquidation at this point, as we're going to chew up that Fire Blast, showing this thing is most likely modest too with how much damage it did. And we're going to get a defense drop, which is absolutely awesome. We have Aqua Jet in the back, but we get a Flame Body burn, and that's definitely really unfortunate, because I would have been able to guarantee pick this thing off with an Aqua Jet, and I still could have gotten Rocks up on something like Milotic, or even potentially Mandibuzz, but you're going to see that does just come a little bit short in not knocking out that Volcarona. We are going to go down here, which is unfortunate. However, we were able to keep this thing at bay, keep it from getting up to +2, so that's nice. Again, I would have much preferred getting up my Rocks, and we have to keep in mind that we're a little bit weak to Diancie now that we lost our Empoleon. Right here, I'm going to come out with my Nihilego, reveal that I'm Scarf, but honestly, that's completely fine. He chose to be Charty Berry, I'm assuming so that he could live, you know, a non-Scarf, you know, what do you call it, Power Gem, and then 2-hit KO me with +1 Psychic, but we're going to be able to get off said Power Gem. He is going to be in range, and we're going to be able to pick it off. Unfortunately, this invites in the Cobalion. However, I'm not too worried about that in all honesty, because of the fact that I do have my Slowbro. Now, if he's Toxic on this thing, that would really suck, but in all honesty, not the biggest deal in the world, as he is just going to go for an Iron Head here, not wanting to mess around with that Nihilego, which is completely fair, because it did kind of rip through him at that point. So definitely makes a lot of sense. He is going to go for a Volt Switch here, get a little bit of offensive momentum, as I believe I throw off a Future Sight. unless I'm crazy. Yeah, so he's gonna go into the Milotic, which is completely fair in all honesty. I can't really do anything to break through this thing, but throwing off future sights is always pretty free, because it forces him to play a certain which way in order to not take those hits, plus the hits that I'm dealing, despite Slowbro realistically not putting on a lot of offensive pressure in this game between Milotic and Mandibuzz, sitting in the back. But I do, again, have a very free Shaymin. He can Toxic all he wants. Again, I just not cure that off, the turns that I elect to switch out. And, I'm in a pretty good spot. Now, this is a pretty big play, I believe. I think it might be this turn. We're gonna see right after here. So we're gonna take a little bit of Toxic. After we get a little lefties back, he's gonna take the burn, things like that. And yes, okay, so this is a play. Right here, I'm going to make a double out into Weavile. My reason being, this thing, I think that if he loses Milotic, he kind of loses the game. With Mandibuzz being Toxic, he doesn't really have a Pokemon to beat Slowbro outside of this Milotic. He needs to get a Toxic on it with this Milotic, or he can't really beat it in my mind at this point in time, being that he lost full Corona. He has no offensive way of breaking through this thing. So, I'm going to make the double into Weavile, because I figure it's going to come in to not only take the Seed Flare, but also the Future Sight. And, try and take on the Shaymin so he can keep his Milotic in the back. And what I can do is, while he still has Cobalion, I can get a free knockoff on that thing. And while I will be giving it the Justified boost, that's realistically not that scary to me, being that I do have Slowbro in the back. And I'll be able to knock off that thing's item, if it's Scarf, if it's Chople, anything like that. So I can low kick it later in the game with Weavile, because Weavile is looking very scary at this point if I can keep this Milotic low. Which I've been able to do so far with just kind of going into, Shaymin and things like that. So I'm going to make the double. Now, Brody's going to call me. This is a great play by Brody, and we'll kind of talk about it more in depth after he visit. But he's going to make a play. He's going to call me doubling into Weavile, and he's going to scald me and, try and punish me in that sense. As I apologize, my screen totally just changed right there. But he's going to make a great play. He's going to call me, and he's going to burn me. And this is so unbelievably bad for me. Now, this is a great play by Brody. I totally understand why he made this play, and I know this is what he was calling. However, I will say, personally, I think this was a risk he didn't need to take at this point in the game, and I think if he lost Milotic there on that call, as you can see how early in the game this is and how long of a game this ends up being, well, I don't think it would have been that long of a game, because I think I did win very easily if I did take out this Milotic. So, Brody made a high-risk, high-reward play. Would I have made the play? Probably not. Despite it being, pretty likely on my end to try and take advantage of that Mandibuzz coming in. However, he got me there, and that was a big call by Brody, and you're going to see that really does kind of affect the way we play. Realistically, the rest of this game is the Future Sight's going to pop. Now, the good thing about this is we're going to keep this Milotic low and to a point where it kind of has to recover this turn. Now, it sucks because we're burned, and we can't really do anything to this thing. I mean, we couldn't really anyways because it's Flame Orb and it's already burned and stuff like that, but definitely less than fortunate, as I am going to make a play into Zam. Now, to be completely honest, I feel like this is me getting a little bit overzealous. I think that this play was 100% a result of me tilting like crazy, because he, called me on my shit and called me doubling and burned my Weavile. I should have just gone Shaymin again. I didn't lose anything going Shaymin. 100% my best play. Realistically, 100% my best play in my mind. And it's just kind of just me being impatient. Trying to get in Zam, because Zam is really good in this game, especially with the Mandibuzz chipped. There's no reason for me to go into this thing and just let it get Toxic, which is basically what's going to happen. I am going to Mega up here. It is first turn Mega, so I can't even play around with Magic Guard and, not get, Toxic or anything like that on this next turn, as we are going to trace the Marvel Scale, which means that we'll have a pretty high defense stat after we end up getting Toxic, but I am going to throw off a Psychic, be able to really chip this thing down, as he is going to go for a Toxic, hit said Toxic, and, put us on a timer a little bit, which sucks, because we are a fatter Zam. We could recover up on a lot. We could recover up on this thing, honestly. We could recover on a Mandibuzz if it's, mono knockoff and things like that, most of the time as well. And, yeah, now I am going to make a Dazzling Gleam play here. Personally, I think that Psychic was a roll. Yeah, I think that Psychic knocked him out, so maybe that's me overplaying, but again, I figured he'd really want to save this Milotic. He didn't value it as much as I thought he would at this point in the game, especially being that he does have the Mandibuzz, so maybe that's me overplaying a little bit. I'm trying to find a position to get back in this game, because I am so far on the back foot with my Weavile getting burned. That was a massive turn. At this point, I'm trying to think, like, oh crap, how do I even win this game, kind of thing, as the Milotic's going to be able to recover up again. I kind of do have to pivot out this time, and I go into Shaymin, which I should have done originally, and completely, to be completely honest, but You know, it happens. We all tilt, especially me. I tilt a ton. So I am going to make the pivot out into my Shaymin, and then I'm going to make the double again, because I refuse to believe he calls me on it again, especially being that my Weavile is burned. I want to knock off something's item. So I am going to make the pivot out, as he does end up going Cobalion instead, which is probably worst case scenario. Good middle ground by Brody. I called him Dobby. But I am just gonna elect to knock this thing off. I think at this point my Weavile is really essentially useless at this point. I do just kind of want to knock off this thing's item, see what it is, and kind of go from there, as he is going to Volt Switch. It's not going to take me out, which is obviously nice. You know, Brody expecting me to switch and save this thing, but I don't have any clerical support on my team, so this Weavile is potentially useless. And then he's going to pivot out into the Milotic. I will be able to potentially keep this thing as, what do you call it, sack fodder for later in the game, which can, you know, obviously come up really, really clutch. I can even potentially Ice Shard or Weaken Landorus and try and pick it off like that. Though we're not as great of a revenge killer to that thing because of the fact that we didn't, we did take that burn and things like that. So if we're burned and we get intimidated, it's not looking too hot for us, and to be completely honest. Because I'm sorry that I'm sitting to the side. Again, I have a puppy on my lap, and I have to like prop my legs up so she has a lap to lay on. So I apologize about the awkward angle. But I am going to make the pivot out into my Shaymin. And I'm just going to go for a Seed Flare. He's showing that he's more willing to let this Cobalion take a lot of damage, which is completely fair, being the sense that I let my, what do you call it? Weavile get burned, and that was basically what the Cobalion was here for. He's gonna go for an Iron Head here. Sucks, because he gets the flinch, and this blows. I would have loved another Seed Flare off on this thing, or an Air Slash. Cobalion, I honestly should be able to 1v1 this thing, minus, barring, like, you know, really bad luck. But I don't want to play around with flinches any more than I already have to. I do have that sack piece in the back in my Weavile, so why not go into it right now and, you know, be able to, you know, get switch initiative into something else, which is obviously very, very clutch. So Weavile is going to go down. I am going to go out into Brody himself, Brody versus Brody action, and you know, from here potentially threaten out this Cobalion. It's going to have to go for a Volt Switch, which is completely fair, but again, I take absolutely nothing from that, genuinely nothing from that you know, move, as right here he is going to make the Mandibuzz pivot, finally electing to go into this behemoth of a Pokemon. A pain for me to break, in all honesty, and I don't have great pivots into knockoff, so this can actually be pretty tough. Realistically, we really needed that that Weavile to really punish this Pokemon and, you know, break through it. That's, you know, the whole point of Weavile on this team. But I am going to elect to stay in. I'm fine with you know, losing my AV. Again, I'm very weak to the Deancey in the end game, but if I can stay healthy enough, I will always live a Deancey hit, which is obviously awesome. And that's going to be the main goal, is to never let that thing sit up for free. If it wants to rock polish, it needs to take a big hit to where it's in range of Slowbro in the back. And it'll never get off a double dance versus me, realistically, and not, you know, go down afterwards. So Mandibuzz is going to pivot out here, as he does knock me off, realizing he's not doing a lot of damage. But I'm going to make a double out into my Nihilego. So this is a pretty big play by Brody, another very, very solid one, in all honesty, because of the fact that what do you call it? I was making the pivot expecting him to want to roost up on my Slowbro, but he is going to make the pivot out. Unfortunately, I don't have Thunderbolt. If I had Thunderbolt, I would have clicked it there very, very easily and potentially knocked out this Milotic, or, you know, not had to take damage on, you know, that thing. But realistically, it's completely fine. He's going to actually make the pivot on the Mandibuzz, which sucks, because if I would have just clicked Power Gem, I would have been able to net a KO, forcing the Cobalion, and been in a better spot. I assume he was more so sacking this thing off because he doesn't have great Thunderbolt pivots at this point. His Cobalion gets 2-hit KO'd, and you don't want to risk your Landers at this point, so it's completely fair. I'm going to go for a Seed Flare here. I kind of want to bait a drop, and I know that this thing will not knock me out with a Brave Bird at all whatsoever. And I know I don't have great switch-ins to this Pokemon at this point, to be completely honest, as I can kind of synth stall it a little bit, as it is going to be poisoned. It's going to take a little bit of recoil right there. And honestly, I'll be in a good spot. Now, I will end this exchange pretty low in health. However, I can always recover up on the Milotic, and as long as I do find that opportunity to recover up on the Milotic, my endgame actually isn't completely awful. Because if you look at Brody's team, and you look at Shaymin plus Slowbro, it's very difficult for him to break. Incredibly difficult for him to break. So if I can find the opportunity to try and, you know, get that synth up again, as this Mandibuzz is going to go down to Brave Bird plus Toxic this turn, I'll actually be, you know, absolutely chilling and in a really good spot. But the only issue is going to be finding that opportunity to get in on the Milotic and recover up, because I still don't know its fourth move. I know that its moves are Scald, Toxic, and Recover. It could for sure have Ice Beam. That's 100% a possibility, so we do have to account for that and be careful, because if he's not in, he's looking a little tough, in all honesty. As right here, he's going to go to the ante. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of pick a sack here. I'm going to pick the sack off my Mega Alakazam, just because of the sense that I think my Neolego can still 100% win in the endgame. Zam isn't vital to the game plan, as nice as it is. And if he elects to go for like a Calm Mind or something like that, I'll actually be in an okay spot where I can, try and pivot around this thing and, pick it off with Slowbro plus Neolego or something like that. But he's going to go for a Moonblast, which is completely fine. As long as this thing doesn't set up in my face, I'm fine. We're going to see Zam's going to chew that hit, and then plus the Toxic is going to live on 1 HP. And this is genuinely awesome. I'm just going to go for a Psychic for some damage, because then I can pick it off with Neolego if he doesn't go for Rock Polish. But we get a crit, and I will tell you 100% that did matter. I did a max of 88% with my Mega Alakazam Psychic there. An absolute max of 88%. So we never did knock out that Diancie otherwise. And while I do think that I still could have won this game if Diancie was still here, my endgame wasn't easy. He basically could claim a KO with Diancie every single time it came in for free. Now, he was put in a tough spot the turn afterwards when I went into, subsequent XYZ threat afterwards. Like, I think I'd go Neolego after this. I picked this off. He goes Cobalion. He takes a ton from Power Gem because it's a Cobalion. And I still have a free Slowbro that I can go into. Now, if he could get in on a potential double into my Shaymin or something like that, then he's in a much better spot, and he can, again, claim a KO, because I lost my Assault Vest on my Slowbro pretty easily. But at this point in the game, I don't think he, won the game with, Diancie or anything like that. So while I do feel bad, though, because it made Brody's endgame harder, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't auto win me the game, but it made it harder for him to win the game, and it made my endgame plan a little bit easier. So I do apologize to Brody for that, for sure. Long game, crits happen. So that's basically how I'm feeling. I mean, yeah, I got a crit, he got a pretty clutch Flame Body, which means I never got up rocks or anything like that. So again, it sucks, but that's Pokemon. So my Zam's gonna go down, but a valiant effort nonetheless, being able to live that Toxic plus Moonblast on 1 and then crit the Diancie. Absolute behemoth. Now Brody's gonna go into his Landorus, pretty much affirming to me that he's Scarf. I don't think you go into this on the double down if you're not Scarf. But my Shaymin's going to take the Intimidate. The reason I went Shaymin is in case he decided to go Milotic, because it matched up well versus my Slowbro, and it also matched up well versus my Nihilego. So I figured he'd try and go into those and potentially get a Recover up or something like that. So I tried to get in my Shaymin right here now, and if he goes Landorus, that's fine. I can pivot Slowbro, as he is going to, most likely U-turn, but again, it bounces because I'm a Slowbro. And it's not the biggest deal in the world, in all honesty, as we are going to come in. We're going to take a big chunk from this U-turn, but it's not to anything where we really, care at this point, because while we don't have our Assault Vest, Milotic isn't breaking through us with any actual attacks. And, the other two attackers are physical, minus the Volt Switch from the Cobalion, but we know that he's not specially invested. We know that he's still a physical attacker, he just has Volt Switch for momentum. Now, right here, Brody is going to make a clean double into Landorus, trying to prevent my Shaymin from coming in to Synthesis, which is honestly completely fair. I'm going to make a middle ground into my my Nihilego, because I didn't know if he would want to, obviously, Ice Beam or anything like that, and I wanted to scout and see if he had it or something like that. It also covered a potential Toxic on my Slowbro, and it, if he did elect to recover. From there, I could try and pivot out into my Shaymin or something like that. But Brody definitely doubled out there to prevent my Shaymin from coming in and synthing up, because he realizes once that thing synths up, it's almost most likely curtains for him. But I am going to go into my Nihilego, and this kind of works out a little bit, because what it's going to allow me to do is just click Hidden Power Ice. If I can chip this thing down in a guaranteed range of Shaymin or Slowbro, I'm in a phenomenal spot. I don't want to play around this thing being Scarf, and I don't realistically see my Nihilego winning this endgame. Because of the fact that Cobalion and Milotic do exist. I do think Milotic can get a Recover up soon, and I don't think I can accumulate enough damage on the Cobalion without, and put that thing in range of a Power Gem or something like that. So, and Landorus also, just choose a +1 Power Gem pretty easily. As right here, I am going to make the play into my Slowbro. We see that he doesn't U-turn there, and again, Matt just 100% confirms that he is Scarf. I get to throw off a very free Future Sight, though, which was my main idea with doing this. As he is going to make the play into Cobalion. This is completely fine in all honesty. He's going to get a big Volt Switch off, but realistically, not the biggest deal in the world. As he is going to make the play into Milotic. Now, if only I just clicked like a Psyshock or something like this, I would have been in a much better spot. And realistically, I probably should have, because Cobalion's not doing anything to me. Because potentially maybe that could have put him in range of the Future Sight plus Psyshock next turn, but not the biggest deal in the world. This turn, I know he is forced to recover. Or Toxic. I don't think there's a universe in which he clicks Ice Beam this turn, as he does click the Recover, and this is going to give us a phenomenal position. This is going to essentially probably ensure a victory unless we do get incredibly unlucky, or unless we absolutely toss this game. Psyshock plus Future Sight wouldn't have killed there. It's Milotic. Milotic's too bulky. But he's going to be very chipped here. And we're going to be in a very good spot, as he is going to be forced to withdraw. He needs this thing around, or he loses to Slowbro, obviously. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He can't beat the Pokemon, as I am going to get the Synthesis off, and this is absolutely amazing for me. Being able to get pretty much almost up, to like 80-ish%, 85%. And from here, I can kind of just, pivot between Slowbro and Shaymin, and realistically all the last 3 members of his team, provided, again, we don't get super unlucky. As we are going to see the Cobalion. I apologize, I gotta grab the puppy. Should be in Repless. Hi. Oh, hello. But we're gonna see that he is actually going to be Swords Dance Cobalion, which is interesting. He's Swords Dance Stabs Volt Switch, which is definitely an interesting bring. It's not going to be able to break out through my Slowbro, even with these burns and even with these flinches. He's gonna go for another Swords Dance, really kind of banking on breaking through it with like +4 Iron Heads and flinches and things like that. But I'm just gonna go for a Scald. I have no reason not to at this point, and I can bait a burn, which I do get there, and that all but seals it, in all honesty. Again, he really cannot break through me whatsoever. He's just going to go for a CC, try and get off as much damage as possible, which is completely fair, but we are going to be able to, put ourselves in a pretty decent position here. As we do go for a Scald, I am going to be able to pick off this Cobalion, and all that's left is going to be a very weakened Landorus. A Landorus at, 10%, which is obviously in range of everything on our team, and a Milotic that is also incredibly low. And our birdie's going to go into Milotic here. I have no reason to do anything but pivot into Shaymin. The reason I pivot Shaymin is because either he Toxics here, or he has to recover, XYZ, all these different options and things like that. But I can, obviously just regen up my health and then take on the Landorus later. And C-Flare does claim me a KO. And even if he predicts me and clicks the Ice Beam, if he freezes me, I can make some kind of pivot play, try and get back in later due to natural cure and things like that. So I figured obviously pivoting out is my best bet. If he went into the Landorus, then he would have obviously been forced to U-turn. I still go Shaymin because he can only U-turn into the Milotic. U-turn does not kill me, and again, I throw off a C-Flare. So I'm pretty much in a checkmate position as long as I don't get incredibly unlucky in this endgame. So yeah, we are going to make the pivot play. There you go, Snow. Right out into Shaymin. As he does go for a Toxic, this is completely fine. Again, I don't need this Pokemon to be healthy. I just need it to be able to switch into this Milotic and beat it at this point. And we're going to get a little bit of lefties back, basically negating our, our Toxic damage that we take this turn. And yeah, he's going to be incredibly low as well, which is obviously very nice. I'm just going to go throw off a Seed Flare. We do connect said Seed Flare. We're going to be able to knock out the Milotic, and this should all but seal the game. Even a crit U-turn will not knock out my Slowbro. It's just a matter of the differential we get, whether or not it's a 2-0 or a 1-0 win. Now, obviously, I would prefer a 1-0 win. I mean, a 2-0 win. I'd prefer the best diff possible, being that we have dropped a couple games here early season, and we need all the help we can get to try and scrape into playoffs after our pretty lackluster start here in PMU. But he is going to go into Landers. We're going to see that he is Scarf. He does have to kind of lock into U-turn. That's obviously not going to kill our Shaymin. It will 2-hit KO for sure. I'm going to go for Air Slash because it's my most accurate attack. We do thankfully connect. We knock out the Landers, and we're able to pick up a dub here in PMU Week 4. GG's to Brody. I think this is probably one of the best games I've seen Brody play. I think he played phenomenally. I think like I said, the Milotic play, catching my Weavile on the double, was pretty sick nasty. He made another, he made a couple other great doubles in this game, and put himself in a great position to win, and I know he really grinded for this matchup, so big shouts to him. He definitely played really well. I apologize for the crit on the Mega DNC. I think I still had an endgame, provided I didn't kill it right there, but again, like I said earlier, it made it a lot tougher for him to win, being that I did KO that, so Again, GG's to Brody. Big shouts to him. He's the GOAT. Go commission him to do logos and stuff for you. He kills it and all that stuff. He did our team builder slides for all our leagues that we play in and stuff like that, and that we're uploading. So yeah, definitely go check him out. He makes great work. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. If you're new here, be sure to drop a sub. We got plenty of draft league content going up each and every week. Snowy, right now you're gonna start licking me. We're on camera, ma'am. Hey. All right, guys. I will see you later. I gotta give this puppy attention.